A shocking move. Deebo Samuel traded to the Commanders. What just happened? Broncos country was hit with a wave of unexpected news, and no one saw this coming. Late last night, wide receiver Deebo Samuel was traded to the Washington Commanders for just a fifth round draft pick. That means the Denver Broncos will now have to face both Deebo Samuel and rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels next season. An interesting matchup to keep an eye on. But let's break this trade down. Many people believe the Broncos were a potential landing spot for Deebo Samuel. Reports even suggested that he had narrowed his choices down to the Houston Texans and Denver Broncos. That left Broncos fans debating, should they go after him, or is Marvin Mims already a younger, less dramatic version of Deebo? And what about the trade price? If we had known all it would take was a fifth round pick, many Broncos fans would have jumped at the opportunity. However, there's more to this deal than just a draft pick. The Commanders are also taking on nearly $18 million of Deebo's salary. With the Broncos currently sitting on $50 million in cap space, spending that much on a receiver who struggled last season, especially in creating separation, might not have been the smartest move. Meanwhile, over in San Francisco, many 49ers fans and analysts seem relieved. General Manager John Lynch mentioned in a recent press conference that the team needed to get younger to stay competitive. This move aligns with that vision, as the 49ers aim to build a fresh, dynamic roster, much like what we're seeing with Green Bay in the NFC. One thing's for sure, this trade just made next season even more interesting. Did the 49ers just give away Deebo Samuel? The 49ers are shifting their focus, getting younger, hungrier, and more aggressive. San Francisco had become one of the oldest teams in the league, and Deebo Samuel was part of that. While he's a talented player, some saw him as a bit of a diva. Still, trading him for just a fifth round pick feels shockingly low. Some 49ers fans were even joking about a Patrick Surtain for Deebo swap, but let's be real, that wouldn't even be a conversation unless a couple of first round picks were thrown in. The reality is the Broncos got more for Jerry Jeudy in their trade, even though many believe Deebo has a higher ceiling. However, he's also older, injury prone, and carries a big contract. So, Broncos fans, how do you feel about this move? Are you relieved that Denver didn't spend for $18 million out on Deebo? Or would you have taken a chance on him for just a fifth round pick and trusted the team to make the salary cap work? Meanwhile, San Francisco has big financial decisions ahead. They need to all free up cap space for a Brock Purdy extension and other key players. One name to watch is Dre Greenlaw, their star linebacker. Before his Achilles injury in the Super Bowl, he was one of the best at his position. If he hits free agency, the Broncos should absolutely go after him. The good news? The free agent linebacker market is stacked this year. With players like Zach Bond and Nick Bolton also available, Denver has a great shot at landing a solid addition. And with high supply comes lower prices, meaning the Broncos could walk away from free agency with a big-time defensive upgrade without overpaying. Exciting times ahead for Broncos country. Jets moving on from Davante Adams. Another surprising piece of news broke. The New York Jets are parting ways with Davante Adams. And this isn't just speculation from a random YouTuber. NFL insider Ian Rappaport reported that the Jets are actively looking for a trade partner, and if they can't find one, they'll simply release him. Now let's be clear, paying Adams anywhere near his current cap number would be insane. But what if he hits free agency and can be signed for a veteran minimum? Since the Jets are still responsible for his salary, another team could potentially pick him up for next to nothing, similar to how the Steelers structured Russell Wilson's deal. That raises an interesting question. Would you take Davante Adams on a vet minimum deal? He'd have something to prove, and if he's healthy, he can still be a dominant receiver. There's also buzz about where Aaron Rodgers might land next season. Some rumors suggest he could end up with the Las Vegas Raiders. Could that mean a Davante Adams return to Vegas? That storyline would be one to watch. This weekend was supposed to be all about the NFL Combine, but instead, we've had three major developments. Dre Greenlaw's potential free agency, Deebo Samuel's trade, and now Davante Adams being on the move. What a wild turn of events. NFL Combine observations. Shifting gears a bit, let's talk about the NFL Combine. While it's important to track player performances, teams also consider a lot of other factors. For example, Sean Payton was on the sidelines and was asked about when he first became interested in Bo Nix. Surprisingly, he admitted that Nix didn't actually throw very well at the Combine. That just goes to show that scouting isn't just about Combine numbers, it's about the bigger picture. NFL Combine takeaways. What stood out? One thing to remember about the NFL Combine, it's just one piece of the puzzle. A quarterback might struggle in Indianapolis, but that doesn't mean he's not talented. Take Bo Nix, for example. He didn't throw well at the Combine, but that wasn't surprising. The balls aren't broken in. The environment is air-conditioned and controlled. And some guys just aren't fully prepared for those conditions. It wasn't until his pro day that scouts really saw his true ability. That's why evaluating players isn't just about the Combine. It's about their entire resume. Checkmark. College game film. Checkmark. Combine performance. Checkmark. Pro. Day workouts. Checkmark. Interviews with teams. Checkmark. Medical evaluations. But for now, all we can analyze is what we saw this weekend, and a few things stood out. Stacked positions and draft strategy. This year's draft class is loaded with talent at running back and tight end. There are second and third round prospects in both positions who could be absolute steals. The gap between the top ranked running back and the fourth best running back isn't as big as we thought before the Combine. But on the flip side, the gap at some other positions is huge. For example, the Hall difference between the number 1 safety and number 5 safety is massive. The difference between the number 1 center and number 5 center is just as big. So what does this mean for the Broncos at pick number 20 mani neram? Instead of reaching for a running back or tight end early, they might be better off taking the best defensive player available and then targeting a running back and tight end in later rounds. One player who impressed? Malachi Starks, Georgia safety. He's drawing comparisons to Derwin James, which says a lot about his potential. What's next for the Broncos? With NFL free agency opening in just 6 days, the Broncos will soon have a clearer picture of their roster needs. Which positions will they prioritize? Will they fill key holes through free agency or wait for the draft? It's going to be an exciting few weeks for Broncos country. How free agency could shape the Broncos' draft plans. The Broncos' moves in free agency will give us a big clue about their NFL draft strategy. If they sign Talanoa Hufanga from the 49ers, for example, then it's safe to say they won't be drafting a safety early, Ross. That's why free agency will be so important to watch. It will tell us which positions still need to be addressed in the draft. A game-changing center? One player who really stood out at the NFL Combine was Jared Wilson, the center from Georgia. It's rare to go wrong with a Georgia offensive lineman, and Wilson just posted one of the best athletic scores ever for a center. He anchored a whole playoff team last season even with a backup quarterback and showed incredible ability in both pass protection and run blocking. Now imagine this. The Broncos already have one of the best offensive lines in football. The only real question mark is at center. If they draft Wilson, they could go from good to elite, creating the perfect situation for a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract. So here's something to think about. What if the Broncos zig when everyone expects them to zag? Instead of taking a running back or tight end early, what if they draft a center or the best defensive player available? Would that be the smarter move? Let me know your thoughts. Hidden gems at wide receiver. Another takeaway from the Combine? There's serious depth at wide receiver. Some names didn't get much attention before, but now they look like perfect fits for a Sean Payton offense. One name that stood out is Thornton, which caught my attention for a personal reason. I actually went to Thornton High School, so naturally I'm a little biased, but Thornton or Colston Loveland could both be sleeper picks that fit what Payton is building. With free agency just around the corner, things are about to get even more interesting. Stay tuned, Broncos fans. Dante Thornton, the perfect fit for Sean Payton's offense? One of the biggest standouts at the NFL Combine was Dante Thornton, standing at 6 feet 5 inches and running a blazing high 4.34 second 40-yard dash. He's the kind of wide receiver that Sean Payton loves. Payton has often joked that he wants his wide receiver room to look like a basketball team, and Thornton fits that mold perfectly. Not only is he tall and fast, but he also owned all of college football in yards after the catch this season. Unlike some big receivers who go down as soon as they catch the ball, Thornton keeps running, which makes him even more dangerous. His hands, flawless. He dominated the gauntlet drill, showing off reliable catching ability without dropping a single pass. With his rare combination of size, speed, and athleticism, he could be a game changer for the Broncos. He's much faster than Courtland Sutton, and while Sutton often catches the ball while falling to the ground, Thornton catches it and keeps going. That's a huge difference. Isaiah Neyor, a hidden gem, another wide receiver who caught my attention. Isaiah Neyor. He didn't get much hype this season, but his athletic numbers are off the charts. Out of 3,400 wide receivers ever tested, he ranks 11th in overall athleticism. That's insane. His relative athletic score, RAS, of 9.97 puts him in an elite category. His film backs it up too. Watching his highlights is tough because Nebraska's quarterback isn't exactly Patrick Mahomes, but Neyor has all the tools. He even reminds me a bit of Marvin Harrison Jr. Maybe that's just because he wears number 18, but the talent is definitely there. Why this is exciting for Broncos fans? The best part? Thornton and Neyor could both be late-round picks. That means the Broncos have a chance to steal a top-tier athlete without using a high draft pick. With Sean Payton breaking down every detail and analyzing every option, it's clear that he's looking for the perfect weapon to pair with Bo Nix. Free agency is just a few days away, and there are so many ways the Broncos can upgrade this roster. Broncos country, we've got a lot to be excited about.